Welcome into the Nashville Game Changers podcast. I'm your host, Jill Jelnick. We always talk about how Nashville is a growing sports scene. So many athletes, so many wonderful teams, so many wonderful things going on, both on and off the field in the Music City. But it wouldn't be what it is today without its support system, the fans, the people running point behind the scenes, calling the shots, and one new organization that is trying to do exactly that for women in sports, both on and off the field, is Playmakers Nashville. And I'm really excited for our guest this week. Please help me welcome one of the founders of Playmakers Nashville, Erin Ryder. Erin, thank you so much for joining the show. Thank you so much for everything you do for Playmakers Nashville. I know it's still relatively new, getting the word out there, but already a growing organization, so many members, and I'm just so excited to see how far this organization can go, because already you guys have made so much great progress. And I'm just so excited to have more people listen to the incredible work both you and also your co-founder, Emma, are doing.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for allowing us to talk about this. We are so excited. We launched on February 4th, which was Women and Girls in Sports Day, being super intentional. And we have almost 300 members.
Wow.
And that is,
oh my gosh,
that is only about 3 months. So really what we're trying to figure out is, we talk about it all the time, like how many women in sports are here in Nashville. We support the women in college all the way up to women who've been, in the business for 25, 30 years. And for us, we just keep meeting more and more women that we can meet and bring into our community.
Community. That's,
yes.
In many ways, I feel like that is a great word to describe it. Better than, I said organization, and it is. You guys are working so hard to get this thing off the ground and going so fast, so soon. But in many ways, it's a sports community for women that want to be involved, that want to support other women, whether it's athletes, whether it's college student athletes at Vanderbilt, Belmont, you name it, right? But also the bigger picture, bringing professional women's sports here to Nashville, with whether it's Upshot, whether it's another league down the road. It's a community that supports women both on and off the playing field. And that is something Nashville desperately needed. And for those that don't know about it, it's here. It's happening right now.
That's right.
Playmakers Nashville.
That's right. Oh, thank you so much, Jill. Like you took the words out of my mouth. Emma Mae Bradley, my co-founder, and I really wanted to build something intentional. We were looking for community here in Nashville. I had just moved here. I'm from New York, but I had come from LA and working in the industry. Emma was from here. Originally, she was born here, but she came back, and we weren't finding what we needed as a support system. And so we built it. And so Playmakers Nashville was really built with intention. It is a 501c3 nonprofit, but it's built to elevate women who work in sports. And that is young women in college who are just learning about the breadth of the sports industry and just kind of dipping a toe in, to women that have had full and amazing careers, but they're figuring out what's the next step. And throughout that process, whether you're in college or whether you're, my age, you need someone, you need support, you need to figure out who you can lean on. And also, what are the jobs here in Nashville? And that's another piece to this puzzle, like you said, is you talked about Upshot, right? It's building a really strong sports ecosystem here in Nashville. And we already had an amazing foundation. We just wanted to build off of it.
Yeah. I love how both you and Emma it's your brainchild, right? This is
right.
what you guys created. And you said it yourself. You realized there was a gap. There were things missing. Talk a little bit about that. What were some of the conversations you had, or what did you notice in this city that was missing? Yeah.
So we went around and met everyone, especially me, since I was so new. I was like, I had to play catch up. And so we met with, everyone at the NCVC, the Sports Council, the Metro Sports Authority, the mayor's office, every sports team. And we realized there's so many amazing things happen in Nashville, but there wasn't a hub for women. I think the Nashville Sports Council did a great job with their Women in Sports Committee, but we wanted to build beyond that. I am somebody that has been a member of many organizations over the years, and we were like, oh gosh, if we could put what we love about an organization into this, and the first thing is fun. We really wanted it to be something that people showed up for, and it felt really valuable to you as you were figuring out your career path, if you're figuring out your next steps, whatever that pivot was going to be, because we think about that all the time. Women's sports careers are so nonlinear. And then, we built it from the ground up.
Wow. It's so exciting. And it's a city that needs it. It needs so much more support. Talk a little bit about what are some of the activities the communal events that you guys do, that you guys host. You guys are partners with so many of our teams, so many universities. Talk a little bit about your partnerships here.
Absolutely. So we built it with 5 founding partners, and we were so excited that so many people said yes. And that was the Tennessee Titans, the Nashville Predators, the Nashville Sounds, Vanderbilt University, and a national girl empowerment brand called Rebel Girls. But that's just our founding partners. Our impact partners are Athletes Unlimited, Inns Bank, Upshot Nashville. We've got community partners with Belmont, the Nashville Stars, and it goes on, right? Like, we have been so excited that the community has opened up their arms. The Nashville Sports Council, and we're working with the NCVC and a couple others. It just doesn't end. There's so many people that have come to us and said, how can we help? And that's the support we need, because we are a program-heavy organization. We want to deliver on socials, on panels, on fireside chats, ways in which women can learn in a really fun way. And I think sometimes networking is really intimidating. You're expected to pay for something, show up, look really, business casual, get there, get your resume around, do whatever you're supposed to be doing. And we're like, gosh, if we could take the pressure off of that and people could just be in an area where they can just meet new people and feel really good about it. And so we were really thoughtful about that. We have mentorship opportunities. That's ways that you can mentor and be mentored. For me, I've never had a female mentor. And that was really important to me, to give women the space to be able to either give back or find women that can help you answer those questions that are so important as you develop within your career. Philanthropy is really important to us. We have 5 year-one scholarships that we're actually going to be giving out on May 15th for undergraduate, high school, and graduate students, which we're really excited about. And then within the community is just giving back. We wanted to find ways to support other organizations that we truly believe in. And being a nonprofit here, you start realizing really quickly fundraising is hard. And so if you can connect with all these other people doing great things, we'll only be stronger for it.
Yeah, the connection, that community aspect, it's so strong. And that's exactly what you guys built it for, right? I love the mentorship program. I love that it connects different generations, right? Because as you mentioned it, I realized I didn't have a female mentor growing up. And definitely not growing up, starting in the sports broadcasting field. Male mentors, yes, but it's still such a male-dominated field that we just don't have a lot of female mentors. I would have loved to have a female mentor as I was making all the mistakes in the world starting in broadcasting. So I love that you connect different generations, and any age, it sounds like, can get involved.
Yeah, so right now we're open. It's free. Well, we call it subsidized because we've had our amazing partners help us do that. It's subsidized for college women, so you can join for free.
That's awesome.
Anyone in Middle Tennessee in college, outside of Middle Tennessee, if you think that there's value for you, please join us. And then our middle cohort is women that have just gotten out of college and have about 9 years in the industry. And then we have a cohort for women that have had 10 plus years. And so that's really the model. And our goal is to eventually build into high schools. And we're going to be piloting a program as early as next year, where we're going to start kind of incubating what that could look like, because we think the younger we can reach women, or the earlier we can reach these young women, the more they will understand the sports industry isn't so small. It's really quite vast. Even here in Nashville, right? We have so many ways in which you can work within sports, even if you don't land at the Nashville, the Titans, the Nashville SC, Sounds, Preds, like things like that. There are so many ways in which you can work in sports, and we want women to understand that. And
back to your original point, it's never linear.
That's right.
Very rarely is a career in sports a path that A plus B equals C, right?
Yeah.
There's a million different things. And the sooner, the younger you can understand or try to wrap your head around it, or just get inspired by that idea, the more of an effect you can have on so many young women.
Yes.
What a great model.
Yeah, we had an amazing seminar that we did with in partnership with the Predators. We were able to take 23 women on game day to shadow during game day operations. And so many young women ran back to us afterwards and said, I now know where I'm going to start. Because that's the hardest part, is where do you even start? And then we've heard other things like, I now know that my first job out doesn't have to be my perfect job. It can be any job. And then you build from there.
Yep.
And that I have goosebumps talking about it because it takes that pressure off women to be perfect right out of the gate, because they're going to be fighting for so many opportunities. And it's like, you can start in sales, in fan experience, you can do a fellowship and build into that career for you. In fact, I want young women to try on as many hats within sports that they can to better understand, because it's not just the job, it's a culture fit where you go to different organizations, right? Working in live sports is so different than working maybe at an agency, or working in a nonprofit in sports is very different than working, where you are here at Fox. And so I think if young women get to try it, even volunteering, we tell them this, internships, volunteering, part-time jobs, there's so many ways that you can try things on and see what fits.
You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with Erin Ryder, co-founder of Playmakers Nashville. We'll be right back after this. Erin, you mentioned the awesome Preds event that you had for, what did you say, 20 plus women?
Yeah.
That is so cool to have them experience that, see what it's like shadow. And that, in many ways, along with your mentorship program, those are some of the bulk of the activities you do. Events like that. Talk a little bit about the different events you guys have had in just a short amount of time, and also what you have planned for the future.
Yeah. And we're coming up with things all the time. So if you join us, first, please do join us and go to the website, and you'll see in your member portal, you'll see all the events that you can, come and join us on. We had an amazing social where we had over 100 women join us. We did sports trivia. We broke women up into different groups so they got to meet people. And then, as you know, once you get a little competitive, kind of playing a game once each other, like, it just solidifies these bonds. And so we found from our very first event that women now have little chats with each other, and they go and watch sports together, and they now have this like new little community within our community, which we love. We've had socials, we've had seminars, we've had coffee chats. We're working on an amazing, we did an amazing event with Molly Miller from Arizona State University, who came in. That was our first ever champions event, which is our 10 plus year cohort. And those women, as you know, your career need a little bit of special attention. And we wanted something that really had the meat on the bones for them, that they really understood what leadership looks like. What does it mean to be a great, we call it all the time that we are building a village, but what does it take to be a really good villager too, right? Those kind of things. We've got a financial literacy opportunity coming up where you can have a couple drinks, meet some people, and really get a better understanding of what you should be planning for depending on where you are in your career. We're working on a mentorship event. We've got an amazing event for our captains cohort, that middle cohort we're going to do about being your authentic self, especially when it comes to women. I think it's hard to just be who you are and be proud of that, because you're trying so hard to level up all the time. And so we remind women that success comes from inside, and figuring out what you value and what your own internal compass is. And then how do you stick to that when it gets really hard, setting those boundaries and figuring out where you belong within this industry. And so those are just a few things, but really this opportunity for us to go from building an organization to running it has really kind of been exciting, because we get to survey these young women and see what's working. What do you want? And that input is what we want to use to build this, because we're not building it just for us. We're building it for an amazing group of women.
And an amazing city that continues to grow and add more when it comes to all sports, right? But also women in sports. We mentioned Upshot earlier. That's a huge deal to have essentially the first pro women's league coming here in Nashville, in the state of Tennessee. I still can't believe the state of Tennessee has never had a professional women's team before. And so with Upshot coming here starting next May, we're still a year away, but the wheels are already turning. That's another example of how not only this city continues to grow, but the opportunities for women in sports continue to grow. And I know you guys are teaming up with them, doing a lot with them.
Yeah, we are their nonprofit of choice, which is so amazing. So we are thrilled to support Upshot Nashville and what Nancy Van Rees and Mark Walsh and Carrie Walsh are building. It's incredible. And they're building off of a legacy of women's basketball here, right? Pat Summitt and Candace Story Lee and Kathy Bender and all of these amazing women have been building. Sheila Gibson, these amazing women have been building here. Sheila Gibson, who helped bring Athletes Unlimited here, and they've been here now for 2 years. They're coming back for their third year, and that was so pivotal. And that allowed for someone like Upshot to then come in and realize, yes, there's a hunger for this. And while we don't have a WNBA team, and we hope we do soon, having a developmental team here in Nashville that can support the WNBA and get these players out of college and being professional athletes here in Nashville is going to be so important. But like you said, it's not just for those athletes. It's for the women behind the scenes that want to coach, that want to train, that want to produce and market and do all of these amazing things. Creating those opportunity means keeping more amazing, talented women here in Nashville.
Yeah. More opportunities, more ways to support too, right? Just watching women in sports. I guess we haven't really touched on the fan aspect of it too, because that's also something you guys do as part of Playmakers Nashville. You go to games. You support the teams that are here. You mentioned the Preds already. You mentioned how Vanderbilt's a big partner.
Yeah.
You guys had a couple games where you went to Vanderbilt women's basketball this year, which was a phenomenal season for the Commodores. Of course, Belmont too. So that's a whole entire different part of Playmakers Nashville that you guys are in charge of. And I love that you can also be a fan and just support watching women's sports.
That's right. Well, when we were building this, we were like, okay, this can be for everyone. And if you work in sports, wonderful, it's for you. If you want to work in sports, it's for you. If you are passionate and a fan of women's sports and men's sports, it's for you. And so we wanted to tap into that fandom because we have an amazing board, but not every one of our board members works in sports, but every single one of them is passionate about it. And that's where we tap into that. And so supporting the collegiate sports, the pro sports, anyone that comes in to town will only better our ecosystem here for sports. And a lot of times what ends up happening is because Nashville is such a busy city, people just don't know what they don't know. And so they don't know that Belmont's women's softball team is crushing it right now. And they don't know that go get a game, like go see a game, right? They don't know how well Vanderbilt women's basketball was doing until they were really, kind of making their way into the final the championships and things like that. And so I think for us, we want to make sure that people know what's out there, know where to find us. And so if you're intimidated about going to a game by yourself, you can find us, and hopefully you'll then find somebody that you can call and say, hey, I'll go to a game with you, or I'll go watch sports with you. We're working on a partnership with Chapstick, which is a women's sports bar in East Nashville.
Right next to Lipstick Lounge.
That's right, right behind Lipstick Lounge.
Yeah.
And so already we're working with them on putting together some amazing watch parties for the WNBA, the NWSL, women's F1, like all of these amazing things. And so you don't have to play sports to be a part of us. You don't have to work in sports to be a part of us. You can just be a fan.
You could just be a fan. You could just watch women's sports, cheer on women. I love that. Support women, support Nashville teams. That's amazing. I think one of the reasons why I fell in love so quickly with your nonprofit is the intention behind everything that you guys do. You're supporting these athletes, you're supporting these teams, and also trying to better the lives of young women and young, middle, old, whatever you want to call it, all ages. But I think it's an area where it does get overlooked. Women's sports doesn't get that love, that same sparkle and appeal that men's sports do, whether it's at the college level or the professional level. And so when you find a community that has that same love and passion, that I feel like it can be contagious and it can affect so many other women and men as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. And that's our hope, is really is just finding that spark within other women here and men. We have an incredible group of allies who support us too. But for us, we see Nashville as such a hotbed for sports, and we are thrilled to be a small part of that, right? And if that means that we can help bring the Women's World Cup along with the Super Bowl, if that means we can bring the Women's Final Four alongside the Men's Final Four, if that means we can bring the LPGA with the PGA, that is what we want to do. And we are not forgetting about the men's sports because so many of our women work for men's sports, right? And so for us, really building and supporting the sports ecosystem here in Nashville will only sustain and support more amazing women who work in the industry.
Stay with us. You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with co-founder of Playmakers Nashville, Erin Ryder. We'll be right back after this. Erin membership. You kind of talked about the 3 different tiers. College students, free membership. That is amazing. You talked about all the benefits, the social, whether it's the socializing, the networking, supporting through games, so many cool events, seminars. You guys have so much going on. Best place for someone to find more information and become a member.
Yeah. You can join us at playmakersnashville.org. Find us on our socials at playmakers.nashville and really come to an event. We've got a couple events coming up in June and July where we'll open it up to not just members. We'll open it up to everyone because for us, it might be something you want to try on. Come, meet us, see if it's the right fit. But our hope is by the end of it, whether you pay nothing in your college student, whether you pay $149 for that middle tier or $249, we hope that at the end of the year you've decided that that's the best money you invested in your career and that you've either learned something, met someone, maybe honed in on a certain area that you want to be working on. Maybe you started a 401k, maybe you found a mentor or you're mentoring someone, right? I think for us at the end of the year, that is our hope. Our membership is a year membership. And there's a lot of areas to get involved. We have volunteer opportunities. We have committees. So if you're also hungry to be involved the same way we were, MMA Bradley and I desperately wanted to give back. We're at that point in our careers where we have that opportunity. And so I know so many other women want to do that. We're always looking for new board members, committee members, things like that. So if you want to get involved, also reach out to us because we'd love to meet all of you.
So much fun. I love going. I love being able to not just attend those events, but being part of that community. Because one of the events that for the AU kickoff, and that was February 4th. That was the initial launch date. When I walked in that room, it was amazing. There were so many people. I was like, I know you, I know you, I know you, right? But then I was like, wait a minute, I haven't met so-and-so and I've been dying to meet her. Or, he's connected with Nashville Stars. I haven't had a chance to meet him in person yet. It's one of those things where in that moment, you physically see the connections come to life.
Yeah.
And how far along they pay off for you or how much they help your career. That, obviously that's down the road and can open up so many doors. But it's a tangible, physical experience where you are part of a community that wants to give back. And we just don't have enough of those organizations. So I'm so grateful for you and Emma coming here to Nashville, starting Playmakers Nashville. And before we transition to, in my opinion, first, you said yourself, you're at a point in your career, you want to give back. Tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are and some of the steps along your sports journey, because it has been a fun, exciting journey for you, Erin.
Yeah. I'm very lucky. I'm an athlete, and I went to college. I played field hockey at SUNY Cortland. Go Red Dragons. We won a national championship my senior year with my sister on the team, and it was amazing. And I'm very lucky that I had a professor at the time that asked me if I wanted to jump right into work or if I wanted to go to graduate school. And he said, do you want to keep working in sports? And I said, well, I don't work in sports. And he said, well, you work for the radio station, you work for the TV station here in the athletic department. And I was like, oh, is that all it is? Right? And I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I went to graduate school at Syracuse, focusing on television production, graduated from there and started NBC Olympics. And I was just in awe of the work that they were doing. At the time, I was working on the bid for the Olympics. They do a bid every few years to make sure that they're the ones that secure the rights to host the Olympics. And then I actually got to go to the 2004 Olympics. That project for me, I got to work with James Earl Jones, won my first sports Emmy. I was this young kid, just wide-eyed and so thrilled that I had figured this out. My next stop in my career was at ESPN, worked for NASCAR. I worked in a lot of live sports. X Games was a big one for me. Made my way out to California and just kept building on my career, learning how to produce and direct. Eventually landed at my own production company, helping female athletes build their own brands. There was no marketing support. There was very little effort being done to help them in terms of financially. They were doing everything that they did, kind of bootstrapping it. And so we built something amazing there. And that led me to work at Amazon in sports marketing. I worked very closely with Lindsey Vonn on an amazing show. And then Thursday Night Football was one of my babies. And it was amazing. But with that opportunity, I was grandfathered in remote in LA where I was working. And I immediately bought a house in East Nashville. I knew this was where I wanted to be. And that was 4 years ago, like 2 days ago. So I just celebrated my 4-year anniversary. Moved here with Amazon, worked at Amazon for a few more years before I landed at Belmont. And I was teaching sports administration for the past year. It's been amazing. But I also consult. I still produce. I work really closely with different organizations, whether it's developing concepts for marketing, producing, things like that, and then event production. So doing a little of everything right now, but really for me, Playmakers is the baby. Playmakers is the focus as we kind of figure out, what the rest of the year looks like.
Yeah, wow. You have so much experience, so much knowledge. What might be a piece of advice that you find yourself giving to maybe some young women that are thinking about starting a path in sports or are not sure, right? But they maybe are interested in different options. What might be some advice you would give to someone starting out that's looking for some guidance?
Absolutely. Do it. That is like the period, end of
do
sentence. Do it. And I mean that by volunteer. There are so
Mm-hmm.
many ways that you can volunteer at every single organization here. You can volunteer. You can volunteer for the Olympics that's coming. You can volunteer for the World Cup that's coming. You can intern. There are so many incredible internships. And while that's unpaid, you can keep having your part-time job on the side. But just try it. And I would say live sports is difficult, right? You don't get a lot of holidays, nights, weekends, things like that. So know what you're getting into. Do your research, follow these people, see what they're doing, look at their socials, do your research, but just try it. Because I think there's a lot of people that think it's not for me. I was an athlete, but that's where my career ends. And I would say you don't know till you do it. And there's so many ways to get involved in sports, so many career paths. And so it can and will be for everyone if you just try.
Yeah, it can open up doors that you never saw coming.
That's right.
And I think that happens a lot of the time because we really don't, we see our people on camera, but we have no idea how many people are running the show behind the scenes, directing and producing like you did with the Olympics and Thursday Night Football. I'm just in awe. I bet you have some really good stories too from your live sports days.
We had some fun times. There's some amazing Al Michaels stories that I'll take to the grave.
Okay, that's good. I would love to hear those. Other than you said 2004 Olympics, right?
Yes.
Okay, other than 2004 Olympics, what might be one of your all-time favorite live sporting events you've done?
Gosh. The X Games, some of the early games in 05 and to 07 when we were pulling out some of the biggest stunts like the mega ramp and the things that we were doing live, pushing the envelope for sports, the way that these athletes were out there and we were building it, right? Like we were packing sand, right? There were teams with like huge machines putting this all together. We had no idea what it was all going to amount to. And really it was all leading up to what you now see when it comes to the big air in snowboarding and in skiing and things like that. And so I think it was really exciting being on the ground floor of watching something really being built and finding a place for it. Because I think that's the hard part about sports is everyone is like, oh, there's not room to televise all sports. There is. There actually is. And that's why we talk about
nowadays.
And nowadays,
right?
But there's
Streaming.
so many platforms. There's so many ways. And so I think about it all the time, the way that rugby's come through, the way that some of these sports that were sort of fringe have broken back through. But being a part of that in the early days was really, really special.
That is cool. That is very cool. Okay, before we let you go, Erin, let's finish with, in my opinion segment. And I am going to guess you probably have a lot of great opinions when it comes to women in sports, but that free range, you can talk about whatever you want, something that's been either lighting your fire lately or something that has inspired you, wherever you want to take it.
I want to keep going on that topic. In my opinion, we need more attention and broadcast rights for women's sports. It's building. I know it is building, and we're investing so much in women's sports, but without those beautiful big time slots, without prime time coverage, we are not going to continue to build at the momentum we are. Women's sports are behind the 8 ball when it comes to broadcast, and so that is so important. And so if you are a young woman and you've got a story, if you've got, journalists, right, what Jill's doing, all of that matters is, and especially people at home, I would say, if you are not following amazing female athletes, following women's sports teams, going to games, put your money where it is, because that'll show people that it's worth it. And so invest in small ways in women's sports, and then everyone else, put it on in the right spots.
Oh, man, you hit the nail on the head. Put your money where your words are, right? And it could be as simple as going to support the Vanderbilt women's basketball team, Belmont Belmont softball team.
That's right.
Maya Johnson, who is killing it in the circle this year. Go support your women's athletics. And then also, it could be as simple as watching. Just watching.
That's it.
Getting that click point, watching the WNBA, click points, watching the National Women's Soccer League.
That's right.
It's that simple, but it's can't be overstated enough, because I think I run into the argument of, what are you talking about? There's not enough women's sports on. There's more women's sports now than there was 10 years ago. Yeah, way more than there was 10 years ago. And it was not existent 2 decades ago. Like, yes, we have made huge strides when it comes to women's sports on television and women's sports in general.
Yeah.
But is still nowhere near what it should be and what these women deserve.
That's right. And so when we think about, they're making these amazing, notes. I think it's McKinsey came out with this amazing number that women's sports is going to reach to $3 billion this year alone. But that still means we only have this tiny segmented, like 3 to 5% of the sports industry. That's a drop in the bucket. And so I know we talk about it all the time, that this is a movement, not a moment, but really it's that progress that we need to make in newspapers, on air, and in podcasting and all of those things to really make sure that we're solidifying that foundation so that women don't have to keep doing the up and down and that fight for those dollars.
I like that, movement, not a moment.
Yeah.
Right? I love that. That's I'm writing that one down. I'm going to use that in my sportscast tonight.
There you go.
Erin, thank you so much. I'm so excited that so grateful you and Emma started Playmakers Nashville, bringing all of your years of experience and just being able to give back in a way that is so selfless and going to be so beneficial for so many young, old, all generations of women here in Nashville. This city is so much better because of you two, so much better because of Playmakers Nashville. Thank you for being a Nashville Game Changer.
Well, thank you so much for having me and for talking about Playmakers. It means the world because truly you are Playmaker. You are exactly what we hope that women see and do and be. And so thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Be sure to check out Erin Ryder, also Emma as well, the two co-founders, Playmakers Nashville. Check out their website, socials, and be sure to support them as much as you can. I know we will here.
Yes.
So sure.
Let's go.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for our new guest. And as always, be sure to check us out on social media and YouTube. And when you're there, please like and subscribe.